Welcome to the Sprinkled with Hope podcast.
This is Jason. And this is Shane.
And it's podcast time.
Welcome to Sprinkle with Hope podcast, and your host Shane. And today our guest is Helen Barry. She's coming to us all the way from Ireland, our very first guest from Ireland. So we're super happy that she's joining us. Just a little background about Helen. She actually says, I think I pronounced this right, Reiki found her in 2005. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But the thing that really struck me and how I was introduced to Helen was this. She says on her website, another passion of hers is to support others by sharing uplifting and popular mindset messages on social media. I'm fortunate to have exceeded an organic reach of over 60 million people. So Helen, thank you first of all for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's my absolute pleasure to be here, guys.
And Jason and I are one of those 60 million people that you reached. But let's go back a little bit and talk to us a little bit about Reiki and what that is for those of us who don't know what that is and how you got into that.
Okay, so Reiki is a form of energy healing. There are many different forms of energy healing, but Reiki is the one that found me when I was working in a very busy, pressurized, demanding stockbroking job in the city here. Around that timeline you spoke about, 2005. And it was very pressurized, very busy. And a colleague of mine suggested maybe we could go to a Reiki session together. So I went with an open heart and an open mind. And during the session, I really felt very connected and very at peace. And I always remember leaving that business premises and feeling almost like a spring in my step. I felt lighter. And I thought this was amazing. So of course I went back for more. I started having Reiki regularly sessions for myself and started a voyage of unfolding, learning. And I really found something that I felt worked for me. And then in turn, I could share with others. So that was my journey with the Reiki healing. Once I realized I found it worked for me, I wanted to learn everything I could about it. So I researched every book written about Reiki. I went for other sessions. And then I went on to train in Reiki level 1, level 2, and level 3, which is called a master level. We all know that none of us are masters of anything, but that's the way that Reiki is done. So that just led me to a whole new world because my finance job was very secure, financially secure. But there was always something missing for me. There was always a mismatch of energy. There was always just, even though on paper everything was amazing, there was something within me that was searching for more. And so my journey started. I went on then to leave that stockbroking job, went on to get married and have 3 beautiful little baby boys, and stepped into the role of motherhood. And motherhood was in direct contrast to the very structured, regimented world of procedures and, organized chaos to absolute disorganized chaos. I mean, the babies came with no manuals. They never did what they were told. They didn't follow any guidebooks. So for me, it was a real journey. Again, a deeper journey of unfolding from the pressures of day-to-day life and just blossoming into the carer, the nurturer, the mother, and just really enjoying that role, just really settling into that space and enjoying that role. And quite often when the children would be sick, when they were very, very young, I always again leaned into that higher power, that healing energy. When there was sleepless nights, I'd literally find myself awake with them and just, praying to God and my angels that everything would be okay. And was always very grateful when morning came and, if they were suffering from fevers or different things, everything would settle down. And it certainly made me feel very supported in an unseen world and very supported by something that was greater than myself. So as the children grew up and got older, I just found that I had more time, and that was where the Facebook page was born. So the Facebook page was simply born and birthed, not planned, just a decision made one day as I was scrolling down through my Facebook feed, and I came across a post that really was very low vibrational, and it was a targeted ad for a company. And I just kind of thought to myself, for goodness sake, if this is targeting me, you know, a straightforward mum in Ireland, then who else is it targeting? So I thought, I'm going to do something about this now. I am going to set up my own Facebook page, and I'm going to counteract that awful message with just some nicer messages. And that Facebook page was kind of born as a little, almost like a journal, me putting my thoughts down on paper, just in the form of a little inspirational message. And the first couple of messages I sent out, I got, you know, so excited when they might have been seen by one person or two people. And I never, ever, ever envisaged or imagined at that time that the page would go on to resonate with so many people. And it still brings me joy, no matter if it's what happens. It's just another extension of myself. And I enjoy just sharing messages of hope and messages of love and compassion, understanding, peace. And I just feel I'm at a stage in my life where I feel very privileged because I feel all those things within myself. So it's been quite a journey, and I know there's lots more of an evolving journey ahead of me too.
That's really awesome, and I can attest to those messages. I've seen them a lot, you know, over the last several years, and you know, your stuff is everywhere. Everybody, you know, shares it or reposts it or whatever. How have you seen that affect other people? Have they gotten back to you? I'm just curious to see, what kind of feedback are you getting from some of these people? Because I'm with you. I love sharing those, those messages of hope and love and healing and peace, and we're all about that, right? And I think we need that more than ever today than we did, even several years ago.
Well, I mean, the first thing that's interesting about where I am sitting here in Dublin doing this thing almost from my phone, and I just, write the message and pop it out there. I don't really see that it's everywhere. Okay. That's the first thing. I know that might sound really silly, but I do the message and I let it go. And I just intend it out there. Whoever needs to see this, please see this. I'm not a great person for studying the analytics. I did that in the first couple of years, and I nearly drove myself scatty because there is no rhyme or reason to any of those analytics. That's my theory on it. So I just create the content and I just send it out, and I get inundated with messages from people. That's the response I see, just from people saying, oh my God, this message helped me see things from a different perspective, or this message helped me see things from the other person's perspective. Or the one that I love getting is, this message has helped me forgive myself and others. Like, that's profound to me. I mean, if I receive one message like that, it just fills me up and almost expands within me a capability to give more. It's mind-blowing. I never think about the analytics or the statistics, because if I did, it would just probably become too much. So in my home life here with my husband and my kids, they don't care. They don't care about Facebook. They don't care about Instagram. My kids just tell me I'm so far behind that I'm, that's great, but TikTok is where you need to be, or YouTube is where you need to be. So it's a very grounded approach to healing and inspiration that I take.
Helen, I love the insight that you just gave us and our listeners, that you really, truly don't care about the numbers behind the thing. What a great insight into you as a person, that you're willing to share this, open yourself up so that it might help one person. And Jason and I talk about that a lot. Like, I would hope that we could say the same thing, that we're aligning with you. I think that's why we connected so well with you on social media, was because of your messages and the desire to have to be able to talk to you and see a little bit more insight into who Helen is.
Amazing, because you probably have noticed I don't put much of Helen on the page.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I'm quite you know, very much behind the scenes. I kind of like being behind the scenes, but I have created a business last year, so I need to be able to, you know, do the other side of it too. But I have faith and I trust that everything will always unfold at the right time, and there's never any rush with anything.
Yeah, so beautifully. I love that you shared that little insight. So let's go back a little bit to Reiki. And again, is there something that you can share with us that we might be able to do at home, or something that we could learn from you right now on things that we can do that will bring that into our lives?
Yeah, I mean, for me, everything starts with ourselves, and everything starts with our breath. Okay. And if we could breathe before we responded, or if we could take a deep breath before we react to things, I bet we could all find that we could all be a little bit, you know, more centered, less reactive, and things, you know, just allowing things unfold without controlling the unfolding of situations. So one thing that I would do is every morning I'll come down, I'll boil my kettle 3 minutes, to have a cup of Irish tea, you know, and I close my eyes and I allow myself that 3 minutes just to take some deep breaths in, like a slow exhale in, you know, maybe to the count of 5, and a long deep exhale out to the count of 7. And I literally will just place my hands on my heart and just allow myself just that silence to connect. The birds are singing out there right now. I'm not sure if you can hear them.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
You know, just really just in a moment where there's just peace, quiet, and just connection. And I find that if we allow ourselves that time, if we can make an appointment with ourselves to show up for ourselves and just be still, we allow that whole just healing and connection and insight and intuition just flow in. Because I think many of us are living such fast-paced, stress-filled existence that we're running from here, we're running to there, and we're not allowing ourselves that time to connect deep with ourselves. Mobile phones, I mean, if we're boiling the kettle for 3 minutes, many of us are scrolling. You know, they're a huge distraction, lots of benefits, but a huge distraction, you know. The still time that, let's say, our ancestors would have allowed themselves 100 years ago is all distracted now by go, distraction. So for me, every morning, that's something I always do. I'm also did my diploma in meditation teaching there. I finished that in February. So another way I just connect deeply within myself is I'll do 20 minutes silent meditation in the morning before the kids and the house and the chaos wakes up. Try getting a teenager to school in the morning.
Oh, I know.
So, you know, just those little, for me, it's the moments of peace that create the expansion of time for me. That's what I found. It's those moments of deep connection with yourself. I mean, when we're quiet and when we place our hands on our heart, I mean, the first thing that you're aware of is that little heartbeat, just that little piece of life form energy that's residing in your human body. Like, we're more than bones, we're more than flesh. We have a soul and a spirit that lies within us. And that is all part of just such a bigger, wonderful connection. Call it what you want, you know? And for me, it's just creating the space to give yourself the time that allows you expand your time and bring in the clarity, bring in the wisdom, bring in the insights. And there's a helicopter now flying overhead. I hope you can't hear that. But, you know, just really allowing ourselves that time to expand the time. That's what I find works great for me. And I do find, you know, with busy home life and with the businesses getting very busy, you know, just giving myself that time allows me just to breathe and process what's going on. I'm not, you know, get too panicked, too busy, too stressed about things. Just, you know, just take a breath and take it as it comes.
I love what you just said. And you talked about, you know, we're often reactive, right? We're not not ready for what's going to come, and just taking that breath. And that, I love that. And one of the other things that you mentioned that I really enjoyed was making an appointment with yourself. I think often we're really quick to, get a meeting going or whatever, right? But we're not taking that time to make an appointment with ourselves, to reflect.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, everybody is so structured, and we have our, our Zoom calls, our Google Calendar, your kids' excursions, your appointments, and everything is laid out quite structured, right? And we have all these things coming in reminding us we're doing this, we're doing that. But do we ever set up a reminder to take time for ourselves? No. Usually most people will allow time for themselves when they're absolutely exhausted at the end of the day. They are so depleted, so tired that, it's not showing up for yourself because you're not allowing yourself that quality time. And it's just human existence now, because we're living in such a structured, stress-filled society, and especially coming out of what we've experienced in the last couple of years. It's intense at the best of times.
Yeah. And again, we're talking about maybe spending 3 minutes while the tea is getting hot to ourselves, to feel our heart, to close our eyes and really breathe and get that. Jason and I have talked a lot about that. We're clearly not professionals in it, but I think we've seen the benefits of proper breathing and the technique of that, and the benefits that can provide us. But I honestly believe simply taking a step back for a minute or two each day, and what you're saying is in the morning, to really ground yourself and do that. Great insight, Helen. I love this discussion.
Yeah, because doesn't it just remind you that you're part of a much bigger picture. And when we're busy and we're living our daily existence, we can just get so, ground down by the human experience and the human existence, and, the traffic and the chaos that, it's just a wonderful thing to know that everything we need, we already have. We just need to show up for ourselves and create that time, create that space,
Yeah.
Love it.
So awesome what you just said. I love that. So if you're not one of the 60 million people that you have seen anything Helen's given out, shame on you. You can find her on Facebook, Helen Barry. You can also, if I can share your website, if that's okay.
Sure, yeah. Perfect.
helenbarry.ie. You can also find her there and connect with her if you want to learn more about Reiki or meditation or anything that I'm sure she's willing to meet with you.
Absolutely. And it's me. If you contact the Facebook page or if you contact the website, it's me. It's all me. It's me you're getting. I'm the other person at the other end of the chat. It's not a robot. It's simply me, because I never want to lose that. I never want to lose that connection of the reason why I did it. I always want to, as much as I can, be there and do what I'm doing, because it's in the giving that we receive. Okay, this is what I think. I think the more we can give, the more we can receive. It just expands that whole capacity. And I feel very grateful to be able to do what I do. And I feel very grateful to be able to give in a way that people resonate with and people enjoy.
Yeah, love it. One of the things that you've been talking about is your business. So is that business part of the meditation thing, or is there other things that you do as well?
So basically it's called Helen Barry Wellness. I have, over the last 15 years, done lots of different trainings and different things. Some have been wonderful, some of them not so wonderful, but I will only ever teach what I have found beneficial to myself. And there's no crazy claims with anything that I do. Everything I teach is for your toolbox to implement the teachings to help yourself, to create awareness, to create that space, to encourage you to show up for yourself. Because when the body is in that total non-resistant, relaxed stage, the body will naturally heal itself and will be in that vibration where we can just simply be. So I found Reiki brilliant. I found the Palawa healing brilliant. It's another form of energy. Teaching Reiki has been wonderful because it's great to be able to share what I've learned over the last couple of years. Meditation, again, I'm a huge advocate of meditation. I absolutely love what it's brought to my life in terms of clarity. I mean, when I was a busy mom with 3 kids, I could never even remember where I left the car keys some days. I would go to the shops to buy my food shop. I'd come home with loads of random things for dinner. So to me, meditation has brought nothing but like clarity, peace, just for my brain, you know. It's just really, really helped with managing everything I do in a daily day, and manage it in a way that is just it just works, it just flows, it just works. And I'm also starting to run now these short like 1-hour meditation and healing Zoom segments, and they are really creating a lot of interest. And what that will be is just me showing up on Zoom and leading a guided meditation with some group Reiki healing, and just some kind of tips and tricks on how to better connect with yourself. Stuff that I've done that works for me. Always stuff that I've done that works for me.
That's awesome. So we would encourage anyone hearing this to reach out to Helen if you want her expertise and advice on how to improve your life. So near the end of the podcast, Helen, we have what we call the double down dose. So I have a question for you, and then Jason will ask the last one. Hope to us is very, very important. Our podcast is called Sprinkle with Hope. We love talking about it, but we also love to ask our guests, how would you define hope?
It's a good question. Hope for me is knowing that the sun's going to rise again in the morning. Hope for me is knowing that no matter what unfolds day to day, life goes on. Hope for me is just knowing that we're part of something bigger than ourselves. And hope for me is just trusting that we know what we're doing, even if we don't on this level know what we're doing, and that everything is always unfolding for our higher good.
I love it. So good. So the second part of the double down dose today is, what is your definition of love, or how would you define love?
Wow. Okay, love to me is that spark of light that resides in our heart, that we can choose how to amplify it, who to give it to, and also how important it is to receive our own love from ourselves in the form of self-love and self-care.
Beautiful.
So good.
We love asking those questions because on the surface it might seem so simple, like what is hope and what is love? But you do like most of our guests, and you take a second to really think about what is love. I've never actually had to define that. And so we love asking those questions and getting insight. Helen, thank you so much for your time today. I'm so grateful that we were able to connect with you and get to know you more on a personal level. I'm wishing you all the best in all of the things that you're working on.
Thank you so much. And it's been my absolute pleasure to be able to connect with you guys too. It's been wonderful. So thank you so much.